So, what do you do when a huge company sends you a bill that just feels wrong? Today, we're diving into a story that is basically a masterclass in how to defend yourself as a consumer. We're going to unravel this really frustrating phantom fee from Hertz and see exactly how one customer fought back and, spoiler alert, she won.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. You get in an accident with a rental car. It's stressful, but you do everything right. Your insurance pays out thousands of dollars for the damages, and you think, okay, finally, it's over. But then, another bill shows up. This is the exact situation one renter, Victoria, found herself in, and her question gets right to the heart of this whole mess.
All right, so let's meet the hero of our story, Victoria Muenchow. She rented a van from Hertz, and while she was driving in Alaska, she hit a deer. I mean, that's a tough situation for anybody, right? But Victoria, she didn't panic. She immediately got to work.
And this part is so important. She did everything by the book. She immediately told Hertz, she filed an official police report, and she started a claim with her Chase credit card's insurance. I mean, she checked every single box. You'd think that would make the whole process pretty smooth, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd be wrong. After she did all that, what she got back from Hertz was basically nothing. Radio silence. For 10 long months. She heard nothing, even as she was trying to push the insurance claim forward. Then, almost a whole year later, a bill finally shows up. And the bill was for $5,873. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But it was for the actual documented repairs. So Victoria sent it over to her insurance company, Chase, and they settled the whole thing.
Whew, okay, you're thinking, great, a year-long headache is finally done. Victoria could just move on with her life. But then something else came in the mail from Hertz. Turns out this case was nowhere near closed.
Yep. Hertz demanded another $842, and this was after that initial, nearly $6,000 repair bill had already been paid off in full. So the big question was, what on earth was this for?
And here's where it gets really shady. That first bill, it was for documented repairs. You know, parts, labor, the whole shebang. But this new fee, Hertz just said it was for something called diminished value. And when Victoria asked for any kind of proof, like an appraisal, a calculation, any paperwork at all to justify it, Hertz gave her absolutely nothing. Zero.
So this brings us right to the core of the problem, doesn't it? What in the world is diminished value? It's a term that rental companies love to throw around, and it confuses a lot of people. So let's just break it down. Okay, so diminished value is basically this idea. If you have two identical cars, but one's been in an accident, that car is now worth less money, even if it was repaired perfectly. So the rental company claims they've lost money on the car's future resale value, and they think you, the renter, should pay for that imaginary loss. And that is exactly why this fee is so controversial. A lot of the time, it's just a phantom charge made up out of thin air. Now, diminished value can be a real thing, but the burden of proof is 100% on the rental company. They have to prove it with hard evidence, like appraisals showing the car's value before and after the accident, which, as we know, Hertz completely failed to do. So here's Victoria, stuck with this totally unexplained, undocumented bill for over $800. It feels completely unfair, but what can one person actually do against a giant like Hertz? Well, it turns out she had a secret weapon she'd been building from day one, without even realizing it. This quote from consumer advocate Christopher Elliott just hits the nail on the head. It is the absolute key to this whole thing. When you're in a fight with a company, your own records, your own paperwork, are your most powerful weapon. And Victoria, it turns out, was an absolute rock star at this. She saved every single email, she wrote down the date and time of every phone call, she had copies of the police report, the rental agreement, the bills, literally everything. What she had was a complete, undeniable paper trail that proved her side of the story and, just as importantly, showed how much Hertz had dropped the ball. Because she had this mountain of evidence, this wasn't just some he said, she said argument. She could lay out a solid, fact-based case. And that's when she took her proof and reached out to the advocacy team at Elliott.org for some backup. And boom, here's the payoff. As soon as the advocates contacted Hertz and laid out all of Victoria's meticulous documentation, the company folded. They sent Victoria an email, apologized for the delay, and poof, the entire $842 fee was gone. They called it a gesture of goodwill. So the takeaway here is that this wasn't just luck. Not at all. It was a 1-2 punch. Victoria's incredible record-keeping,
combined with the expert help from Christopher Elliott's team, who know exactly how to handle these kinds of consumer nightmares.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Look, we all deal with contracts and companies all the time. Victoria's story is the ultimate proof that doing the simple, kind of boring work of saving an email or jotting down notes from a phone call can literally save you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. Her records were her best defense. So the real question is, are yours?